Hi everybody, I'm Jonathan Willams, Vice President and Chief Economist here at ALEC, at the ALEC 46th Annual Meeting in Austin, Texas. And I'm very honored to be joined by Kentucky State Treasurer Allison Ball.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. You did a great job on the main stage introducing your father, Ron Ball, and then came to our task force meeting today. I have a lot of good questions that we only have time for a few of them. One of the first I wanted to ask you is, Kentucky's a state, a red state, but has some real competitiveness issues. I know you've thought a lot about that and how to grow jobs and how to make Kentucky great again when it comes to the economy.
Sure, yes. Well, I'll say it's only recently become a red state, and that's one of the issues. Policies matter, and I think it's only just recently that we've started to put policies in place that make a difference, that make us more competitive.
So it's going to take some time. I know that one of the big issues with Kentucky is the pension crisis.
Yeah.
You know, you're up there in your funded ratio, probably with some states that most observers wouldn't think. Illinois,
Sure.
Connecticut, some of the states that get a lot of the headlines, but Kentucky's kind of at that level in some cases.
Sure.
What's the solution? How do you get yourself out of that problem?
Well, I think that the solution is to do something about it. I think we have plans in place, and we just need to actually do it. And it's tough because not everybody wants to make changes. But like I said, policies matter, and you've got to be the grown-up in the room. You have to do the right thing, and our General Assembly has tried to. They passed a bill recently, and it got struck down by the Kentucky Supreme Court. So we just need to tee it up and do it again. But those things matter. Policies matter. You do the right thing, and then you start to see the fruits of that. But like you said, we're 12% funded in our main pension program. Our best one is our teachers, and that's 57% funded. So it's dire, and it needs attention right away.
Great. Well, and I know the way that we got to know each other was through the great organization, the State Financial Officers Foundation, run by our friend Derek Kreifels, and you're the national chair of that organization this year. You know, maybe spend a minute to talk about that great group as kind of the ALEC for State Financial Officers.
Yes, I'd love to. Well, that's the best way to describe it, is like the ALEC for State Financial Officers. So that's your state auditors, your state treasurers, your comptrollers, whatever it is that your state calls that person who's in charge of that. Sometimes it's two people. But it's tremendous to have an organization like that, because these are the folks that are dealing with the nuts and bolts of your finances as a state every day. And a lot of them are friendly towards free market principles, friendly towards the state leading the way. And it's wonderful to have a time for us where we're really focusing on how do you make this better. And of course it has implications for things like pensions. Almost all of us deal with pensions in some level, in different levels of the economy, and tax policies, and things that can make a huge difference for their states.
So one of the things you talked about, it was a great speech you gave in Lexington at the annual meeting for SFOF on financial literacy. I know
Yes.
It's an issue you have thought a lot about. You've been a national leader. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in that area.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a hot button for me. I practiced bankruptcy law before I was treasurer, and I really started to have a desire to help people with this. And last year, I launched or pushed for a bill, and it got passed, to make it a high school graduation requirement that you have a course on financial literacy before you're through with school. And I'm really excited about that, because I think that's going to make a huge difference for generations to come. And I've been encouraging people in other states to do something like this as well. Some states have, but most states have not. And I just believe this is going to make a huge difference, not just for people individually, but it's going to help the state economies. I think it's going to even have an impact on people that they put in office, because you're going to have people that also know how to balance a budget and think correctly when it comes to money. So this is a big issue for me. This year I launched a commission, a financial empowerment commission, to pay for resources from the private sector to be able to teach financial literacy. So I've got a lot of things that I've been working on this, that I'm trying to encourage people all over the country. This is a worthy cause. It's one we can make a big difference on, and to push on that. And while I've been chair of SFOF, during my term, we've launched a Smart Women, Smart Money conference that treasurers and auditors are putting on throughout the country, and it's focused on women, helping them with financial literacy principles. You know, men need it too, but it's been fun to have a time just focused on women, all walks of life. Often you have women who are widows, perhaps, who may have never balanced a checkbook. There might have been their husband who did it. Sometimes the wife or the mom does it, but not always. And there's some unique things that happen in a person's life where we can jump in and say, hey, we're here, and we're going to help you know what to do in these instances.
That's awesome. Yeah, men need it, women need it, members
Absolutely.
of Congress especially need it sometimes.
Absolutely.
Where can people go to learn more about that?
Well, smartwomensmartmoney.com is its own website, so people can go ahead and look at that and see if their state is doing it. We're going to be doing it in Kentucky, hopefully. We've started the steps to make that happen, and we want to see it happen all over the country.
Well, awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Kentucky State Treasurer Allison Ball, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jonathan.